You guys just like you keep coming around. I just keep hearing about you guys.
And I might need to tell Ryan to cut that up a little bit and just put it in my audio for my phone.
First of all, I love the game. I had a passion to play the game, not only football, but I love the game of golf. And what it lends to a person and the friendships you develop on the golf course.
It's been a pleasure being on the drop. I wish you guys all the best down the road.
As someone like you have that golf itch like a lot of us do.
I keep track of you, and you are moving. You are on the move.
So listen, I'm a big New Jersey golf guy. You're very kind, Mike, and you too, Ryan. It's a pleasure to be on just a couple of Jersey boys here talking about something we love. All the best. I really enjoyed it.
This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Kulot.
What's up, Drop Pod people? We have a special interview for you today. We're here on location at Great Gorge, and we're here with the general manager, David Killin. Killing it, David.
Hello, how are you guys?
Dude, listen, there's a lot to dive into in this place, and who better than you to kind of story tell a little bit about Great Gorge, because I think it's one of those spots in this area that doesn't always get the limelight that it deserves. And I think one of the unique characteristics about this place is the actual story, because people hear Playboy, they hear the, old golf resort. What does that entail? Then they hear the golf course closed. But we got to experience it today, and this place is popping. So give us a little bit of a story about Great Gorge itself.
Yeah, kind of a unique story. Great Gorge started off as the Playboy resort. Hugh Hefner built it in 1970. The thought was that he would get gambling, and it didn't happen. So he operated it for almost a decade, and then it's gone through different, it was called the Americana, it was called the Legends. It's gone through some different transitions over the years. So, but we became involved in 2016. And our ownership group bought it out of bankruptcy. It was in bankruptcy for 2 years. And I mean, it's a Fazio-designed course. It is a top-notch 27 holes. Yeah. The 3 nines are distinctly different, which I think is something that is unique for us. A lot of times people will say they have a links or they have a mountainous course. We actually have 3 different courses, 3 different nines here. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty unique. Mm-hmm.
Mike and I said that while we were out there when we were recording. We said that this place is variety. There's a variety here.
Yeah. So and I think that is probably the coolest aspect of this facility. So it was always a great golf course. It was a great layout. Kind of ran into some financial trouble with the last owners. Mm-hmm. Went into bankruptcy, and our ownership group, led by the Koffmans, got it out of bankruptcy at the end of 2016. Put it back together. It was, cattails in the bunker, 6 foot high, and really put it back to what you just played, which we think is a pretty good test of golf.
You would never know that it looked like that, because the way, and that one of the comments I made to you out there is the bunkers are in really, really good shape. And to know that, 6, 7, 8 years ago, it was like that, basically abandoned.
Yeah.
I mean, my, oh my.
The coolest part of the story, I think, is that our golf course superintendent was here since 1982. His name is Dave Brubaker. And so when it closed in 2014, he went on to another golf course. And he lives local. Mm-hmm. And so every day or, a few times a week, he would come and walk it. And it just got worse and worse and worse, mm-hmm. right? And it got to the point where he couldn't walk it anymore. He would leave work and he would just go home. And then the opportunity came at the end of 2016 for him to come back. So the chances of a golf course closing and then reopening as a golf course is somewhere in the 1 in 300 range. So not only did it open, but we had the same person who led the revitalization of this golf course, and he's still here today. So that's so like cool. That's a hair on the back of your neck up kind of story, because he's here every day at 5 a.m. I left work last night at 5 and he was driving out with me. He is just such a dedicated superintendent. We obviously think he's the best superintendent around. We don't think that there's really any place around that have greens as good as ours. And if they're as good, they're not better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for us, one of the things that we like and kind of assess when we're looking at spots is the greens. How are they? Are they smooth? Are they rolling? no bumps. People do a very good job. The public here does a very good job in fixing ball marks because you never would know.
Yeah.
So yeah, kudos to him. And that story is kind of outrageous to think that the guy that was here and then it got abandoned and basically he was left by the wayside was open to coming back and then bringing this place back to light.
In a time where, I mean, if my math is correct, 40 years, 82 to 25 is 41 years. We're taking a 2-year break in there. So to me, that's that's crazy that he could have just retired and not, said, no, I'm done. But he's back and
He could retire today,
yeah.
but he's not retiring.
That's crazy.
So he is just so dedicated
That's
to this property. And I think when he told me the story of him coming back in the winters and just walking the course and getting to the point where he just couldn't do it anymore. It just broke his heart.
Yeah.
And so when he had this opportunity to come back, I'm sure he was the first one here that first morning.
Wow.
So
he starts in 82. Is it still the Playboy Club in 82?
no, it's Playboy was through like 77, 78.
Okay.
It became the Americana. It was owned by a Japanese company for a long time.
Okay.
But always a really good golf course.
Yeah.
Always in good shape. And so when the Koffman family bought this property in 2016, they bought 550 acres, but there's 43 acres in the middle of it, which is the old hotel. And that still sits vacant.
Yeah.
But it's not under our ownership group. So,
Oh, interesting.
and there's some groups that are trying to revitalize it, and obviously we would love to have that happen. But yeah, but we don't have control over it, so we deal with what we can control.
Right, right. Control what you can control.
Yeah. So, and we have a great property because we call it the Great Gorge. We have a treescape adventure park, which is really neat. Obstacle course in the sky. We have Hef's Hut, which is kind of our nod to Hugh Hefner, and that's what we named our restaurant. And then we just built this Park Golf, which is a Japanese game, 2,000 courses in Japan, and we're trying to make it something here in the United States. And we have a little mobile container which we turned into a bar, and we've named that Hef's Hideaway.
Yeah.
So we're always trying to nod to the Playboy. Like I had said before, in the bathroom over the urinals, there's those cartoons of what were in the Playboy. And so we changed those out, and people just think it's, they forget that we are connected to it.
Yeah.
And when they opened in 2017, they made the logo on the flags, the Playboy bunny, but they were scared of copyright, so they cut the top of the ears off. So we still have some of those flags but
That would be really cool. Yeah.
but yeah, so we're always nodding to it, and we appreciate the past that we've had here. When I came here in 2020, people would say, "Where do you work?" I say, "Great Gorge Golf Club," and they say, "Where's that?" And I'd say, "The old Playboy Resort." And then every single person has a story, whether their father had a golden key, or their uncle dated a girl that was a bunny, or there was always some story. And unfortunately, some of the stories were 10 seconds, which were pretty good. And some of them were 10 minutes, which were kind of tough. But it's there's so many people in this area that had a connection to this resort. And gosh, wouldn't it be nice if, it turned back into a resort?
Absolutely, yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But like I said before, we can control. We think we have a great golf course, and we're really, we're a valuable place. Sometimes we hate the value word because we want to make sure that we're charging enough, but I think we could sleep at night knowing that, we charge 100, sometimes it's a little more on our peak times, but they're getting their money's worth. And I think that that's important to us.
Yeah.
Golfers, the wait is over. Weequahic Golf Course is back. After a 5-year renovation across all 3 Essex County tracks, the trilogy is complete. And guess what? They saved the best for last. Weequahic is the first public golf course in the Garden State, opening over 110 years ago. This golden age design just got a modern revival. Architects Stephen Kay and Kevin Wager have enhanced the original Vescu mounding, pop bunkers, and classic greens delivering a strategic test that's as mental as it is physical. It's golf like you've never seen. Vintage architecture set against an urban backdrop, with planes soaring from Newark Liberty International Airport, views of the Anheuser-Busch Brewery, and even glimpses of One World Trade. Weequahic is truly one of a kind. Modern turf with old school soul. You'll feel the ghost of the game walking with you, asking where the hickory shafts went. Weequahic Golf Course reopens Thursday, July 31st. Be a part of the next chapter in Garden State Golf.
Now, so obviously the course being shut down for 2 years went into real disarray.
Yeah.
But over the last, and you got to put, I guess you can't say 8 years because you have a COVID year plus in there where you still can only take care of so many projects at a time. Has there been, the course is in great shape. Yeah. The greens, the fairways, the tee boxes, all great. Is there like another step now that the Super wants to do? Like, have you kind of talked about, like, let's get rid of, let's clean up the golf course. Now we got to take care of, maybe the
X, Y, or Z, whatever's next.
Well, whatever's next
in the plans.
Yeah, I think some of the stuff, we've done some bunker renovation, which I think is pretty important. And we've started to cut back some of the trees on the dog legs because it got to the point where some of the holes were just too hard because you couldn't even get close to the corner.
Yeah.
And so we found out of bounds stakes that were 30 yards in the woods.
Oh my gosh.
Like, time just kind of kept shaving it away, and, you kind of cut it, and, you don't want to get hit by the tree branch, so you cut it a little farther out. And so that is one of the big projects. We're trying to make it a little easier. I feel like it's a good test, but I think that it still can be a good test and be a little easier on some of these dog legs, because some of the dog legs are rough.
Yeah, listen, that was one of the things that we said a lot out there is it's a very challenging golf course. It's a fair and fun golf course, don't get me wrong, but it also requires you to hit certain shots in certain holes. And when you do have, extra branches lingering over on that dog leg, it makes it a little more tougher. And I can see the average public, if you're not able to shape your shot the way it needs to on that hole, you could be a little frustrated at times.
And I think we're always trying to get people to move up one set of tees. I think it makes such a difference. But, I know you played the Quarry side. So Quarry 5, dog leg right, bunker on the right. That's hard to get to the corner. Yeah. So we got to cut some of those trees down so that if you're not all the way to the corner, you can still see the green.
Yeah.
And so that's a big project that we're working on. I think the other things are, we have some tees that we need to level. So we're doing some stuff like that also.
Yeah.
It's amazing how long it takes to get those things back once it's gone away.
Yeah.
And, the Super's done a great job of fixing essentially a golf course is tees, fairways, greens, right? We got to get those back, right? Then the bunker renovation, like you said. Now it's like, now let's start doing some of the aesthetics. Let's get the trees. Let's fix some of the cart paths. Let's fix some of the, keep putting work into it. And it's going to be a long process. But I think, I think this is fair to say, the best is yet to come for this place.
I hope
it
so.
absolutely is, because you continue to, as you said when we were talking to you before, you're pumping out people left and right here. Your guys got to be making money to be able to put back into the course, and that's only going to, again, continue to grow and make this place better.
I mean, even 3 years ago, we started thatching the fairways, verticutting them, and it wasn't a cheap project, and it was very labor intensive. But we have photos from before we did it until now, and it's just amazing, the difference. And, then it helps with, fertilizer and chemicals and water getting in there and really being healthy. And because it wasn't healthy for so long. So we've been able to initiate these projects, and, the fairways are really starting to, they're great.
I think when you have an ownership group that's looking at a long-term sustainability, like being able to put the money in and understand that, hey, listen, it is labor intensive. It's going to take some time, but guess what it's going to look like as down the road. And that's an amazing thing. And so that's one of the most important things, having that type of group behind
and
you.
one of the owners, Jeff Koffman, who's pretty much the primary that I deal with on a regular basis, is a golfer. And, I think sometimes maybe that could hurt. But overall, I joke with him, like, it does help us. And, he can give us some real, he can criticize us and we can take it because he's a golfer and he knows what the golfing public is looking for. So that's also, really good. Very, very involved ownership group. They want to support us in every way. And what could we ask for?
That's great to have.
Yeah.
It really is.
I love the the understanding and the honor to your history here. Like the Playboy thing, I think some people can look at as like maybe like a negative connotation, like it's Playboy, the whole nine. But I think the idea of like, hey, listen, that is part of the history of what this place is. It has a different feel to it. And I think that's one of the fun things that when people are able to come up here and see and learn about, I think that's really a really fun little aspect to this place.
Yeah, I think that like connotation has kind of left, right? When I would think about it, it kind of like, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago when it was still a publication. Yeah. But yeah, to your point, it kind of. I like that you guys put the homage to everything. Yeah. I like that it's Hef's Hut and Hef's Hideaway.
Me too.
Like,
I think it was maybe a slight risk. I don't know. It doesn't look like it was a risk now, but but at the time, I think that we kind of went out on a limb to do it and thought tongue in cheek, and hopefully people understand. And let's face it, if they didn't, we would have been called something else.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen. And I feel like that's sometimes part of the a job. Like there are calculated risks that you take, and some work out and some don't. But this clearly has.
Yeah.
I want you to talk a little bit about One Club.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm more of the social media guy than Ryan, and I see this as being pumped out.
Yeah.
It's kind of all over. It's kind of like I'm learning more and more the more I see it. But explain to the public what One Club is.
All right. So, I think it's the education of One Club, and it is a short course. It is one club that doesn't have a loft. People could say it looks like a golf club, but maybe you hit it like a croquet. It's flat. The ball is bigger. The hole is a lot bigger. It's supposed to be this vibe of a walk in the park. It's supposed to be what I call easy fun. We have a lot of things here that are hard fun. Treescape is hard fun, but we put in zip lines. That's easy fun. Golf is hard, but One Club is easy. So we can get more people involved. It's 800 yards long, still par threes, par fours, par fives, 25 to 75 yards long. Music in 40 flower beds, container bar obviously in the middle to have a mocktail for the kids or a cocktail for us adults. Big screen where we're connected with Golf Genius, where you put your score in and now your name comes up on the big screen.
Oh, cool.
Maybe Pop Stroke. Maybe we're trying to get into the market of off green grass, because that, even though it's on all grass, we're in that classification with Pop Stroke and Topgolf, where everyone can play it. There's no excuses. You can take your 10-year-old daughter out there. You could take your 75-year-old dad out there. And, maybe, we have every catchphrase around, miniature golf on steroids, pickleball of golf. I mean, if you have 10 minutes, I'll give you all of them. I've only recited them about 60, 70,000 times. So, but I think the one thing to take out of it is open mind. It's inexpensive. It's $20. It's 2 hours of fun. It's not miniature golf. It is more than just miniature golf. But it's fun. Anybody can really play it. And the music's playing, and maybe you have a cocktail in your hand, and you're with your friends. And so, is a purist golfer gonna say, "I got to play that every Tuesday night"? Maybe not, but I bet you a purist golfer, a traditional guy, says, "Hey, honey, come on, let's go, and we'll go play. We'll have a drink, and then we'll come up to Hef's Hut after, and we'll have a meal. And hey, this is the place that you lose me every Saturday for the last 3 months." So maybe we can kind of tap into that part of it where we're just an entertainment, an activity, and it's fun. I mean, we have all of our staff playing it. A lot of our staff are not golfers, and they go out there and they have a great time. So we've had a lot of really positive feedback. I think the big thing is you asking me what it is, because that's the biggest thing. What is it? What really is it? You know, it originated in Japan. There's a couple thousand golf courses there. 50, I think the number is like 50,000, participants. In Japan, it was more of a game where when you couldn't play golf anymore, you'd play park golf. It was set up in municipal settings. But that's not really what we're kind of going for the everybody person. You know, anybody can play, and I think it's a lot of fun. So, like I said, tell us what music you want. We'll put it right into Sonos, and you're jamming to what you want, and
I love
you know what I mean. So it's pretty cool.
It makes it for like a family atmosphere, because I think sometimes you think about golf and it's like, us 40, 50, 60-year-old guys that want to just come out here and grind and play golf. But it has this whole, kind of its own identity while being very inclusive to, hey, listen, you got the golf for the, the traditionals. You got, this for a family type thing. You got, treescape out. You got the food and the beverage. You kind of got a one-stop shop, more or less, of all these different avenues to bring everybody together, where most places don't have that.
Yeah.
They really don't.
Yeah, some people think golf is stuffy, right? I think over the last 10, 20 years, it's gotten less and less like that, right?
100%.
Like people are listening to music in their golf cart. 30 years ago, that would be, people from other fairways would be
Cut that racket off.
Right. So I think that, we have golf, but it's hard. And now we have this and it's easy. And, it allows everyone to visit our beautiful facility.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a hardcore climber or a good golfer.
Yeah.
You can just come here and you can spend the afternoon and have some fun, and everybody wants to get their steps in. You can go get your few thousand steps in out there, and you can come in and you deserve that cocktail after.
Yeah. I also like it, like husband can come play golf, right? And in 4 hours, meet the family and kids here. They can do lunch, then they can go over there. They can then spend the afternoon zip lining. Like you do have, a lot of different variables.
The one last angle that we have with park golf is, or one of the last, is that when we have a golf outing, there's a lot of golf outings that are in memory of somebody, or maybe it's a cancer society or something like that, and you have people in this community that say, wow, I would love to support that because I knew him and he was a great person. But they're not golfers, and they are not, it's not a money thing. They're just not going out there and embarrassing themselves. Right. Now we've got an alternative for them where we can say 9 o'clock shotgun for golf, but you know what? You want to come play park golf? Come at 12. They play park golf. Now they get to come inside. They get to be part of the speeches. They get to be part of the tiers. They get to be part of the tricky tray. Yeah. And now they can say 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, hey, I was part of that. Yeah. I'm not a golfer, but I was part of that. And we're hoping that park golf, our one club, can be that for groups that come. I mean, we probably have, I don't know the exact number, probably 50 golf outings that play this year. And we've booked some golf outings out on park golf. So they'll go play and they'll come in and they'll have food. And, obviously the key to a lot of golf facilities is the F&B. Yeah. And we're no different. Yeah. So the more people we can come in here, we can't take our greens fees through the roof. But if we can get somebody to come in and have, 2 beers and a burger, we're way ahead of the game.
Yeah, no, listen, I love that about it. I think it just, to the earlier point when we talk about variety, this place, you kind of have that. And I think that's been a very, unique word to use about a golf course having many different options to play. Nestled in the woods amongst the quarries of Vernon, New Jersey, is one of New Jersey's best kept secrets, the Great Gorge Golf Club. A 27-hole George Fazio-designed championship course, the Great Gorge Golf Club offers some of the most scenic yet challenging golf in the state. From rolling terrains, elevation changes, and a deep mining history that's brought to life in many of the course's features, including massive exposed rock quarry walls and railroad trestles nestled in sand traps. Golfers will be challenged to use every club in their bags. For additional information and to book a tee time, visit thegreatgorge.com. as someone like you who sits in your seat, you're constantly making decisions about this or that, what to do next. What do you envision Great Gorge to be in the next 2, 3, 4 years as you think long-term down the road about really what this whole facility could be like?
Yeah. Well, I think that the Koffmans are visionaries.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had the vision to put in Park Golf. They had the vision to put in Treescape Adventure Park. So maybe it scares me a little that they're going to have the vision to do something else. But they are going to, you know, we're thinking, man, what about camping and glamping? And so that's something that we kind of are thinking about, just to add more amenities that maybe people are going to stay in the glamping and then they can go to Treescape, keep them on our property. They can come have a burger at Half Hut. So I think that's one of the things that we're doing. We would like to do some more passive activity because we have such a beautiful piece of property and it's so big. Maybe some hiking trails. You know, I think that would be kind of cool. We have Swan Lake where we've cleared out around it. Maybe that's where the glamping goes, but maybe there's something we can do with that. Maybe there's paddle boats in there.
Yeah, or,
you know, we have the kids, you know, we don't like the kids to be out on the golf course fishing, right? Because it's dangerous. But now we have them fishing at White Swan Lake. So they're down there. So maybe it's, you know, maybe we have a fishing tournament and maybe we do stuff like that. I think we're pretty community minded. We want the community to be involved. We don't want just people that are driving an hour to come and play at our facility. We want to include the local public in our facilities. And I think that, you know, since we think of that a lot, we're able to do it.
Yeah. No, listen, I think it's a great idea. And it definitely, the glamping thing to me is like, that's a hot thing that goes on nowadays. And you got the land, you've got the trails, you have Treescape. There is a lot of options when you talk about something like that to utilize this acreage of land even more so than it already is being used. But listen, I you know, it's been a pleasure being up here. I can't thank you enough for hosting us today. Being able to come up here and truly experience and see all this is unbelievable. And obviously you, the superintendent, your team itself are doing an unbelievable job with this place.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great having you.
Yeah.
You know, we love the new experiences and we love to tell I love to talk, right? So we love to tell our story because it's so unique.
Yeah, 100% is.
It really is, yeah. Yeah. David, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Very welcome.